Brainiacs. Oh yeah, man. What kind of trouble we gonna get into tonight? Hopefully not a lot. Tonight we are joined by the infamous, the masked one, Mr. NASAnon. We're gonna be talking about. This is his topic, by the way. Avoiding the government cheese is not just a hysterical satire type label, but we're gonna be talking about all kinds of things. But it's kind of why I'm like, are we going to get blown off the platform here or what? We're going to talk about smuggling. We're going to talk about weapons distribution. Talking about Ukraine. We're going to talk about Russia. And we're going to talk about that, that country you ain't really supposed to even mention. You know, that one that starts with an I? Alright, brainiacs, don't go nowhere. Share this broadcast, share this podcast. This does not happen without you. You guys ready? Let's make it happen right now. What do you say, brainiacs? You guys ready? It's time. It's showtime, brains. That's right. It's Matrix time. And it's go time. Welcome aboard, everybody. Let's go! Talk about ufology, conspiracy, controversy, and anything and everything that we can get into tonight. Let's go. Mr. Andy Cassidy, go down there in the Ozarks and crank that bitch up and rip off the damn dial. Yeah, baby. Yeah. Get up, brainiacs! Yeah! It's definitely your show. Your show, and we appreciate you for being here. Buckle up, everybody. Welcome aboard. Oh, brainiacs, welcome aboard. I hope you guys are doing well. This is going to definitely be an interesting one. Let's head on over here. Don't wait. Yeah. What's up, everybody? Miss Morgan Roundtree's in the house. Mr. Andy Cassidy, Tammy Bonham, George Overton. A whole shit ton of you. On the other side of this mute button, Mr. NASAnon. What's up, my boy? What's up? How are you doing?
Just hanging in. I'm tired, but I'm excited. I've been watching podcasts pretty much since I got home because everybody's freaking out.
Freaking out? We signed up for this kind of shit. What do you mean freaking out?
Oh, I know. Otherwise, I'd be in bed already. But no, this is pretty exciting because, like, this is one of those moments where you can telegraph their every move and just kind of show people, you know, like the last people who can't see the stuff coming, like this is what they're going to do next. So don't be surprised when it happens.
Oh, yeah. What I tell everybody, bro, is I'm holding up my cell phone. They can like make a move and we've got it. Everybody on this fucking planet has got a cell phone. There is nothing that can be said, seen, done, hidden. Not no more. Those days are over. What do you think? Yeah.
I mean, it makes you wonder why even the need for censorship if everything is being recorded.
to what degree, though, right? Me and Larry were just talking on the phone tonight. Just tonight, we just talked about this damn near very same thing, almost. They can't run, they can't hide, they can't. I mean, he used to going as far as saying, his favorite thing is they know what your fart smells like, bro. so we're to that degree. Come on, man. What are we waiting for? Rip off the damn Band-Aid.
Well, that's the thing is, we have to still continue to exist within certain parameters and certain types of social norms. Not enough people have woken up yet to exactly the atrocities that are going on. But, maybe this time, maybe with what we're about to see, because if the American media right now is so afraid of hearing what President Putin has to say to this one journalist, then what are they afraid of him saying? Because the one thing that hasn't come into the light yet is what was going on at those few dozen transhumanist biolabs in Ukraine. Because let's look at this. We had 46, maybe more transhumanist biolabs. And between 2014 and 2015, there were 16,000 murders in that war zone. So how many of those bodies ended up at those biolabs? What have you heard about what went on down there yet?
Good question. That is a damn good question. Now, here I've got a clip that I want us to both listen to, and I've got to where the audience can listen to it as well. Now, this is what the hell is this? Make sure this is the one. Nope, that is not the one. That is not the one I'm looking for. I'm looking for one. I got it. Now I got it. Hi, Michelle Nobles. Hello, Mrs. Tammy Bonham. Hello, Miss Barbara. All right, so no, this is called The Rising from The Hill, right? This is The Hill TV. Yeah. But this is 10 minutes and 23 seconds, and we'll skip through this, okay? We won't play the whole thing, but I want us to listen to this because this right here, I laughed whenever I heard some shit after the Tucker thing. Just trust me, it's worth listening to. All right, hang on, don't go nowhere. Just hang on.
Well, it's official. Tucker Carlson is, in fact, interviewing Russian President Vladimir Putin. Now, while many suspected as much due to Carlson's recent Moscow appearance, the former Fox News host released a video yesterday highlighting the reasons why he thought it was important to hear what Putin had to say. Let's take a look.
Here's why we're doing it. First, because it's our job. We're in journalism. Our duty is to inform people. 2 years into a war that's reshaping the entire world, most Americans are not informed. They have
bingo. Can we play that again? Listen.
Most Americans are not informed.
Ding,
they
ding,
have no
ding.
real idea what's happening in this region, here in Russia or 600 miles away in Ukraine. But they should know. They're paying for much of it.
Dope, bro. I'm gonna stop it right there, and we're gonna talk about what we just heard. Okay. How many fucking wars do we have and have we had in this matrix of things, right? And we not know a single thing about it. We only know what the Mockingbird media has told us. Am I right or am I wrong? The truth.
Well, okay, so if you want to say we as a collective, I have voraciously hunted out our reasons for war in the Middle East and these regions and whatnot. So I don't really wonder anymore. I mean, I just wonder how deep it goes.
You are really low,
yeah,
bro.
A lot of people out there, they're gonna be like, why? And they're not gonna want to feel it because it's very disheartening to think that your hard work and effort is going to go to harm children in some foreign country. Children that you wouldn't have any problem with. They were walking down your block.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to be connected to that. Nobody wants to feel that. Lee Camp recently has been covering how at least 6 million people have been killed in the war on terror. I mean, that is terror, you know, so we are, you know, manifesting these violent outcomes. But I'm really interested how people are going to react when they really learn about, you know, the fact we're actually funding Nazis, you know, while people are claiming the people who are saying we're funding Nazis are Nazis. And, you know, they wouldn't consent to actual Azov Nazis emigrating to this country, which has been happening since February 2022.
Or
before.
And that's what we know. That is what we know.
That's just what we know. Exactly. We know 100,000 Ukrainian refugees, which we know Zelensky has a $300 million palace in Miami that DeSantis has nothing to say about. And we also know for a fact, because we caught it on camera, that there were Azov Nazis protesting at Disney World in Orlando. So they're definitely living in the region. Right. And I'm here. I can tell you, these motherfuckers are wearing the wolf's claw and the swastika proudly. They're not afraid of anything out here.
What? Come on, dude.
No, they Miami Herald, I think it was, got caught because they were welcoming the first immigrants from the Ukrainian war-torn nation, and then someone pointed out that, you know, that family was descended from, you know, the Bandera movement, and so they stopped doing coverage on the 100,000 that were coming to this country. But if you look it up, it's Allegheny immigration law and 100,000 Ukrainian refugees. And they worked with the state of Florida and the Biden administration to do it. And they've been doing it steadily, bringing them into places like Melbourne International Airport here, right on the Space Coast. And they're moving into these houses all around here that are being built by BlackRock. And it sounds like a conspiracy until you realize that this is defense contractor hell. That's why I call it the Epstein Coast. There's multiple Raytheon and Boeing installations here. L3 Harris has a 1,000,000-watt nuclear reactor in Melbourne, and they have a 1,000,000,000-watt nuclear reactor in Palm Bay, Florida, right next to Space Force. And I don't know how big the nuclear reactor at Space Force is, but I know it's bigger than the one that L3 Harris has in Palm Bay. So that's just how much is going on out here in terms of, you know, pushing these new technologies. Like, they're experimenting with these levitation crafts out here that just free float, and they're about the size of a Volkswagen, and they just freaking float there, like a floating Winnebago. It's so neat. But, you know, they are testing these vehicles out here and moving them around all over the place.
I want one.
So they're making definite moves.
I want one.
No, they're cool.
I absolutely do. Everybody knows I'm a tech head. I love technology, okay?
It's a reverse magnetic design. You just have to create a cage, a Faraday cage, to contain the magnetic pulse, and then it seals everything to itself because it creates a little magnetic force field inside. You know, that negates all gravity and force effects. And these patents exist. They were, I think it was Zeitgeist 3, and maybe in one of the sequels to the What the Bleep movies, where they're talking about all the patents that exist for things that we shouldn't be able to do.
That'd be cool.
But yeah, back to the main topic though. You know, what we see right now is we see this publicity stunt, but it's really trying to distract from, I think, what's being said, because I see all these people freaking out about this interview, but no one's just posting the interview. So why aren't they just posting the interview? Why don't we just wait to see what's said and, you know, evaluate it in a clear-headed, non-panicked manner? Why are they building up all this fear?
Well, I think you're about to find out. We're definitely about to find out. Let me finish this a little bit, okay? Hang on, because we'll find out. This little clip says a lot. Hang on.
Oh, I got you.
In ways they might not fully yet perceive. The war in Ukraine is a human disaster. It's left hundreds of thousands of people dead, an entire generation of young Ukrainians, and it's depopulated the largest country in Europe. But the long-term effects are even more profound. This war has utterly reshaped the global military and trade alliances. And the sanctions that followed have as well. And in total, they have upended the world economy.
Following Carlson's announcement video, many took to X to praise him for conducting the interview. Presidential hopeful RFK Jr. posted, "Mainstream media journalists have interviewed Putin many times before. The only difference now is that they can't control the narrative."
Let's stop it right there, because ding dong, Little blonde toe literally hit the nail on the head and bent that bitch back down into the wood. Now Tucker, that'd be like me or you or any of these brainiacs going over there with a damn camera and sitting down with Putin and saying, well, why don't you tell us your side of the story? Right?
You know what's funny though, Matt?
What?
I was watching other podcasts that covered that exact video from different angles, and they said the exact same thing. Just like Robbie there said, that first line. The only difference is now CNN can't control the narrative. That's actually being repeated over and over again. And CNN's being blasted on its own videos for all this, so it's kind of funny to watch them implode like this.
Is it just me, but I can't hear you, and I've got you cranked, man. I literally got you cranked up, and I can barely hear you.
Okay, hold on.
I know it can't not just be me.
All right. Can you hear me better now?
A little bit. I've got you as loud as we can possibly pull you up out of the mud, dude. I've literally got you as loud as I can get you. All right. You realize what I'm saying. He's not wrong. The reason why it's not okay now is because Tucker Carlson is off of their leash. That is exactly why they want nothing to do with this. All right, you ready?
Am I coming through okay now?
You're getting there. At least you're up in the yellow.
Yeah, I'm really low. It looks like.
See where I'm at up here? I can crank a little bit more there, and you're like right there.
Yeah, mine's going mid-range on my own.
All right.
It's weird. Well, I try to talk a little louder.
All right.
Is that better?
That's better.
Okay. Yeah, I was just far away from my cam.
All right. So
this
is it. This is literally it. He's uncontrolled. He's not under their thumb, and he's not having to follow their script. So he can say whatever the fuck he wants to say, right? And it'd be out there. What could possibly be wrong with that?
Remember what they did to Snowden? Remember what they did to...
Talk up, bro. I have no... I'm going to have to, yeah. You just died again.
Remember what they did to Snowden?
There you go.
Remember what they did to Chelsea Manning? Think of what they do to any kind of whistleblower, anyone that shows the truth. That guy they just sentenced the other day to 40 years for being the one who provided WikiLeaks the Vault 7 files. They gave him 40 years, and no one who was involved in that absolute treason and human war crimes is even going to be investigated. That's the way that our government does business, and it's all mind control. It's literally mind control via government.
I can't turn him up no more. I'm sorry, guys. I can't turn him up no more.
Is this better?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's got to be real close. Yeah, so I'll have to install that other mic. But yeah, they got that guy for exposing Vault 7 when they tried to accuse Chelsea Manning of that originally, tortured Chelsea Manning, and tried to get Chelsea Manning to, basically get Julian Assange convicted of treason in exchange for a sweetheart deal. And then it turns out to be this guy, and they quietly give him 40 years, and nobody knows his name until he's already convicted. This is how they do business. Because to them, business is life and death. It's all blood. And they will fight for blood. But yeah, it's just funny because, I'm hearing all these points regurgitated throughout. But really, I want to know what's the need of this. Why are they so scared? What is he going to reveal that's really going to show the U.S.'s hand?
Don't know. No idea. I have a question for you. Is that the new mic that you got?
No, this is the pre-used cam and mic combo that my roommate loaned me.
Holy!
I haven't installed the new studio mic yet.
Dude, that mic. I'm gonna. Do you know how to control the mic sensitivity? You've got to crank that mic up. You absolutely have got to crank it up. Let's do that. Do you know how?
It's in microphone, right?
Yep.
Let's see.
Yep. Just crank up the sensitivity on it. Because, dude, now you're like really, really. I want to talk to you, but I'm not gonna put these guys through it, or me trying to pull you out of there.
Yeah, no, I get it. Default mic.
The enemy uses free thinkers because they're pliable.
Okay, how's that?
A little bit better. Crank up. Keep going. Take a little bit more.
All right. Dun, dun, dun. It's not letting me into the mic preferences.
See, sometimes you'll know. I'll notice that. Yeah.
Okay, how about now?
You're getting there, but that's okay. You're getting there. I know I can't pull you anymore, dude. I've tried. I've got everything.
Let's see, connection quality settings. Okay, there's microphone.
Volume out. Volume. Google Chrome. I got you. Try that. All right, right there. Stop there. Right there. Say hello.
Is that gonna do?
That's perfect. There we go. Now you guys should be able to hear him.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes. All right, check this out. Yvonne Daniels, Dat says, when tyranny becomes law, it's our responsibility to resist.
Yeah, I mean, look at what they're doing overseas right now. The farmers are uprising. That started this yellow vest revolt in France first. That spread to Canada as well. The India farmers have risen up. What's left of Pakistan is rising up because, a third of their country got mysteriously melted into mud. But people are standing. Belgium, Germany, people are really not going to take it at this point. And so all of a sudden you're going to watch these people rabbit in charge. They're going to start getting a lot more secretive with their moves. And they're going to start passing a lot more legislation to make sure you can't see what they're doing behind the curtains. And that's how they give themselves away. But what you're going to see happen now, and I just want to, call this out before it happens, is you're going to see them start smuggling weapons to Ukraine and saying Ukraine's the big deal all of a sudden. But then those weapons are going to start finding their way back to those other countries where we're also on the front lines of genocide. Now, I don't use that word lightly, but that is our stated intention at this point. As long as we're allied with who we are, that's their intention. So,
hey, a second. We got a caller from across the pond, bro. I do believe. I haven't heard from this cat in a long time on the show. Everybody will probably be really surprised when this cat starts talking. But Mr. Richard, you want to call? You want to say hello to everybody from across the pond there?
Hello, testing 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me?
You nice and loud, bro. How have you been?
Excellent. How you doing, everybody?
Victoria, Australia, in the house. Mr. Richard Roller. Well, what do you think? What do you think's gonna happen here, Mr. Roller? You think all hell's gonna break loose?
The world's upside down. It's all gonna break loose.
It's upside down. It's about to break loose. That's a really good example. Yeah, I don't really, I don't really smoke weed, but I'll tell you what. Whenever that interview comes out and shit does start to get bad, I do believe I will start trying to take up growing. All right, because I'm definitely gonna need to smoke just to fucking deal with it.
I hear you.
What's going on over Victoria, Australia? I mean, are you guys question? Are you guys feeling this bullshit over there? You probably are, right?
No.
No?
No.
No, you still under CCP control.
I see that people are still protesting about COVID and about vaccines.
Oh, are you shitting me? They're still protesting over there for that?
Mm-hmm.
No way, dude. We have not heard. I've not heard a single word about that.
Yeah, it's still happening.
Well, you wait until. I'm seriously. You wait until, like NASAnon. Well, like our Anon says, you wait until Tucker Carlson really comes out. The interview comes out where Tucker interviewed Putin, and you wait till some truth bombs come out of his mouth, bro. I'm serious.
I can't wait.
I can't wait either. I absolutely cannot wait. I think, like I said, like I was telling him, I think because now Tucker is off the leash. He's not owned by anybody. God only knows what's going to be said. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be interesting.
It's going to be interesting.
All right, Mr. Anon, let's continue this discussion. Please?
Well, I'm going to be really interested to see what questions he actually asks and what questions he doesn't ask. I'm still making up my mind about a lot of these things and people like we were talking about earlier, but I'm trying to deal real world, like see it for what it is and what's really going to come. I really want to see what Putin outs because, if you're a smart card player, you don't show your whole hand. You don't, bet your whole wad on your first play. You gotta be smart. So whatever he decides to disclose and hold back, that'll also be very revealing. Because I guarantee you, the United States cannot afford for its own citizens to see what they were funding over in Ukraine. And that's just Ukraine.
These comments are off the chain, bro. These comments are look at this. Mr. James Roundtree says Putin is based.
Okay, so yeah, let's really dissect this. Okay, so I'm ex-NASA. I was conditioned and groomed to literally rule over pretty much everybody in this podcast to work on mind control and weather mod with the big wigs and to work my way up. I stepped back and rebelled from that based on a conscience. Now Putin was KGB.
That's right.
He saved his country by selling off his missile armaments to the neighboring countries with the promise that they would never shoot them back at his own. And I think one of the few countries that violated that was Ukraine. That's why it was super ironic. But I'm not saying to blindly trust him. But at the same time, we have to look at the truth. We have to face the truth of what's being done to the people. Because we're all connected. We're all one human race. Even if we're different kinds of humanoids, we're still a part of this greater consciousness on whatever this rock is till we're not. We really have to face that as a collective. But at the same time, we should be able to take the good and the bad with each individual person. And given the vast comparative, and I'm not trying to play lesser evils, but the vast comparative between other leaders and nations on the planet, I have seen Vladimir Putin avoid conflict on several different occasions just by rolling out his ultimate shield for countries like Syria and South Korea, where America was being aggressive and extremely, false flagging.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, him being a former KGB, right? We all know that. Somebody just dropped in the chat that they believe that Putin may be tied to the World Economic Forum, or we know as the WEF. Do you know anything about that?
When's the last time you spoke at Davos?
Well, what about the G12 or the G12 summit? Right? He's not really ever invited to that, or we never even see that shit.
12 leaders. He goes to the climate summits, but when's the last time he went to Davos? When's the last time he spoke at Davos? Can we pull up videos of Putin speaking at Davos to the World Economic Forum?
No.
Because even recently, in this most recent Davos meeting, there are world leaders speaking out openly in the face of the World Economic Forum. So, being connected or formally connected to these people, yes, it's a stain on anyone's soul. But at the same time, there is such a thing as, coming clean and seeking redemption. realizing that you've been misled or dissuaded, or just changing your mind and thinking humanity deserves better. So I'm not saying give them the benefit of the doubt, but at the same time, people should make sure they're not so traumatized that they don't actually hear what he has to say or accept mistranslations and incorrect translations, such as what we saw with the fake videos of Osama bin Laden to spurn on the Iraq War, when they used, a completely different actor. And they literally used a freaking actor.
Right.
So we have to be very cautious of this kind of misdirection and controlled censorship, because as soon as you let somebody else tell you what you are allowed to and to not see, you've given up a lot of your autonomy and your ability to think and think freely, because you can avoid trauma and damage as much as long as you want, but in the end, what we're heading towards is a lot more traumatic than anything most people can imagine. So we might as well start preparing ourselves mentally for a lot of these things.
Let me throw this out there because Mr. Lee Grantham is military. Okay, so he's got that military mind. He says he says down below here they want to bring this war over here to the United States soil really bad. Okay, we all know that. He's like, they want us to the war to be over here. Just watch out for an attack over here. I completely agree with that. They're wanting they love that to happen.
All right, let's contemplate the Russian ultimate shield system. Now, we've talked before about destabilization systems, but the way that you create a force field is by creating a destabilization system inside of a destabilization system. You can actually create a force field that negates whatever frequency you've got it matched to. And so Russia has managed to do this, and they call it the ultimate shield. And what this does is anytime a piece of technology that is tuned to this harmonic frequency flies through that ultimate shield, it short circuits. And so all they have to do is tune it to the US, UN, NATO, and Israeli frequencies. And why do you think the US doesn't do flyovers of Russia? Because they can't. They literally cannot, or we would have been bombing Russia a long time ago.
Right.
But we are physically incapable, because if we do, not only will our jets fly helplessly to the ground, but then that technology will be in the hands of the enemy, and the United States can't risk that. When the Russians lent it to Syria, within days, the Spetsnaz were completely wiping out the Secret Service and Al Qaeda units that were in Syria. I remember there was one story where it was 13 Spetsnaz. They wiped out 300 Secret Service, Al Qaeda, and CIA assets in one town in Idlib. In like a day, 13 guys took out 300 dudes because they short-circuited all their technology. They couldn't use any of their weapons. And so that technology is very real. And if Russia wanted to extend it to the United States and create a real Red Dawn scenario, they could at any time. So if they wanted to bring that war to us, it would have been brought already. I think Putin has showed extreme restraint. And I honestly sometimes wonder if that could just happen, because we know what our own leaders are. We at least know what they intend. And the fact that, they're doing things like running blood drinking clinics in America with our own taxpayer money, that should really tell you everything you need to know about the people in charge.
Let's hear from Richard real quick, because he's in a very fucked up place where he's at. Victoria, Australia is like right around the damn corner from a scientific biometric lab. I don't know if you knew that or not, but they do.
Well, yeah, they were using the natives.
Bro, they do some really fucked up shit there. And while he was on lockdown, I'm gonna unmute you, Richard. While he was on all right, he's unmuted. While he was on lockdown, you asked him, man. They all night long. They were building 5G towers, 4G, 5G towers, and God only knows what else. In the middle of the night, were you not, Richard, hearing fucking helicopters roll up through the city and shit?
Yeah, they really did a big job down here in Melbourne, in Australia. Lots of towers went up while we were locked up.
Right, exactly. While you were locked up. So in other words, is they did not want that publicity of what they're doing. They were doing it behind the scenes, right?
Yes, they would. Yeah.
Hey, here's the kicker. They do this shit right in front of our faces, not just behind the scenes, but they also do it right in front of our faces.
Yeah. They never closed down the COVID camps in Australia. They're still up and running.
Yes, they are.
They just stopped talking about it.
Yep.
Well, we're talking about it now. Not that
Sad.
it's going to last, but we're talking about it now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The fact that people had to escape, and I'm sure there have been more escapees, but they put such a hush on it that, you realize that it's actually an exception to the rule to be talking about it. Other of my friends in areas like Perth are talking about the fact they have like a 98% vaccination rate, and people are actually starting to drop like flies out there. And that's happening all over. Here in the United States, we're seeing it happening everywhere. Sorry, but
it's sad.
It's very sad. But it goes back to my main question. Now that we know all of this grand bullshit, what are we going to do about it? I got a dude right now, it's a good friend of ours, commenting. They have to disclose it in some shape or form. Mr. Neptune Triton. Okay? Talk about a targeted fucking individual. Him and his girl, dude. Oh my God. Targeted. Massive target. But nevertheless, I'm not going to talk about that. I don't want him to become even more of a target. However, I will tell you that the more that we disclose this, the more it is out in the open. Okay? I frankly don't give, I personally don't give two fucks. And Richard, you know that. You definitely know that. Dude, my wife told me the other day, we've been talking on the radio for 15 years, man. Do you know that? Not 13, 15, Richard.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
Long time.
My question,
that's crazy.
The ultimate is, what are we going to do now that we know that they have literally taken these magnificent machines and they're using them against us as people? And it was my bad. We funded these glorious ass machines. These are ours. If you really want the truth, compartmentally built or not, they're still our machines. We paid for the shit. We paid to have them do this shit to us.
That's what's really messed up. It's our money.
Don't get it, man. I truly don't get it. This fucking world, dude. This place. I tell you what. If talking to a higher self, I'm gonna smack my own ass tonight, because I did not. Did I remember coming here signing up for this shit? Not even the least bit. This is a shit show. It's exactly what this is. Let's talk about.
Yeah, maybe I've just fully embraced the sociopathy, but it's just an interesting experiment to me. Like, the metaphysical abilities keep me kicking, and like I said, I'm just really looking forward to seeing a bunch more cosmic horror as people gain a better understanding of cosmic horror as it unfolds around. But I'm just here for the show. I really would like for people to, be more defended, and maybe if we get a chance to do this again, stay a little bit further ahead of the game, because we never should have let this happen twice in 100 years.
What do you predict coming down the pike? Because that's one of your topics that you wanted to talk about. You wanted to kind of like pre-predict the possibility outcome of all of this.
Okay. So the brainless one is the next thing, is a tuberculosis epidemic, just like the one 100 years ago. That was the result of mandatory masking. What you have is this mass migration of people, especially from Africa and darker regions of Africa, who bring over TB with them. And then they've been conditioned to wear masks in the country. And so they're growing TB on their faces, and they're taking public transit, in many cases driving public transit, because a lot of those drivers were fired because of COVID. Now, that's just common sense. What I see coming prediction-wise, these guys, they've just had a big stop sign put on them to stop what they're doing in Gaza. So that means that the bodies they've been raking in are going to have to slow down. Now, they need a constant influx of bodies. So, yeah, and they're talking about disease X, but that's going to be TB. It's going to be tuberculosis combined with the side effects we're seeing, like the Staph aureus rashes, as a side effect of like the Moderna jab. And we don't really know what's going to happen with AstraZeneca because they took it off the market. They don't even have a booster for that. So now they're playing mix and match, and people are still falling for it. I'm on a group on Facebook that I want to recommend everyone to. It's called DIED Suddenly. But come join us. I really recommend this. I think people could learn a lot of empathy for people that made the worst mistake of their lives. And maybe that we could have a repertoire, because one of the things about democracy, if you really believe in freedom of speech, that means you even want to hear from the people that made a mistake, because that's the only way for people to learn. Okay? We all had to go through our own awakenings, and they were all painful, and we all learned some things very painfully. Now, we have to be gracious enough to let the people who made the worst mistake of their life, and some of them who've lost many people in their lives because of it, face that up in a societal, way, if we're ever going to save some of these people. But they're going to start funneling all this money straight to Ukraine because they've already got the biolab set up. We don't know exactly how many, but they're going to start trying to get everything they can out of that, and they're going to start pushing the weapons to the other fronts that they're facing. But yeah, that's the next move.
Richard, what do you see? If you don't mind me asking, what do you see happening?
I see people just dumb, mask wearing, scared. There's too much fear now in the population. People are too scared of viruses and so forth. They want their money. They want their jabs. People are afraid of people now.
Oh, man.
They did their job by separating those that believe in the jabs and those that don't. There's separation that forms now that we couldn't believe years ago.
So you think you straight up just think out of fear they're going to react, and the react is just pretty much give into the system, right? Is that what you believe? I think. Oh, he muted himself, but I think that is what he said. You know what? The way I look at it is, I'm in the same camp as Richard, that we've got a major. It's like it's a toss up. It is literally a toss up. It is the Libra, the scale and balance, right? They're wanting so badly to divide humanity right now, and that is one of the ways they're doing it. They're keeping the ones that are scared, or the ones that want to rebel, they're keeping them away from those that are scared, because we're saying, look, don't be scared, get the fuck up off your knees and do something, fight, speak out, start a broadcast, start a podcast, do whatever you got to do, speak out. The more people that know about this, the less people there's going to be scared. You see what I'm saying? That is one thing that I just told Richard. Start a broadcast. Goddamn it, start a broadcast. You got a voice, you got a heart. And that's what he did. Here comes Kill the System Australia. Fucking, they couldn't stand it. Dude. They shut him down within, I don't know, 3 months. I mean, something like that. Because he was telling the truth. He was doing it with Tucker Carlson. He was like, they couldn't control him. They can control him like as good as they can fucking control me and Anon here. They can't. I mean, so therefore they're going to censor living shit out of you.
Australia's worse than America.
Yes, they are. They absolutely are. Richard used to send me headlines from AU, right? And I'm going to tell you right now, it is unreal the shit that they show. Over, put it this way, Joe Biden had it wrapped up and in the bag before he was even fucking elected in Australia. AU had already damn near had him in the office. Okay, and they absolutely knew that he was going in there. Now you tell me how they knew that. How did they know that? I'm going to play the rest of this.
It's all in the script.
Right.
All in the script.
All in the scripts. I'm going to finish playing a little bit more of this Tucker Carlson coverage by, what do you call it? By the Hill here. Because this does get interesting. Definitely does get interesting. Hang tight. Hello, Miss Julie Rogers. I see you come sneaking up in here, girl.
Zelensky has been given numerous primetime interviews. Osama bin Laden has been interviewed before. We have a right to hear from everyone, no matter how you feel personally about them. Former GOP candidate for President Vivek Ramaswamy wrote, Carlson is a real journalist, actual intellectual curiosity.
But not everyone was so gung-ho on Carlson's interview. CNN's Christiane Amanpour responded to accusations leveled by Carlson that he was the only Western journalist willing to talk with Putin by writing, does Tucker really think we journalists haven't been trying to interview President Putin every day since his full-scale invasion of Ukraine? It's absurd. We'll continue to ask for an interview, just as we have for years now. Amanpour seemed to be vindicated by the community notes under Carlson's video, which added a statement by Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov that, quote, Mr. Carlson is not correct. In fact, there's no way he could know this. We received numerous requests for interviews with the president.
Later on in his announcement video, Carlson alleges that the Biden administration hacked into Carlson and his company's phones to get text messages and leak them to mainstream outlets to try and derail the interview. Let's take a look.
Now, how many times have we heard this before? We've heard this same shit. We've heard this before. We already know that right after 9/11, the Patriot Act got ushered in at warp speed to spy on you and spy on me. What'd you just say?
Pegasus.
Project Pegasus. Damn it! You wouldn't.
No, Pegasus and Pegasus 2 are the most advanced spyware on the planet, and their main distributor is the nation of Israel. Israel remains the fourth leading weapons manufacturer on the planet, and through their dual U.S.-Israeli grants, like the ones I oversaw myself, for destabilization, reverse ionization, dustification, and control systems, they managed to create quite the Ponzi. So that's kind of what they excel in, is creating weapons, and so it's only natural that they would test those weapons out on their own people. It's kind of a tragedy, but at the same time, it's like nobody's wiped out more of them than them at this point. It's just kind of sad. They got rid of all their old people in the entire region with that one move. It's pretty wild.
Check this out. Mr. Neptune dropped something really that's in the chat that we've talked about quite often here.
Well, yeah, he's right. And that was the plan the whole time. If you remember, Epstein money was used in the Harvard Global Sundimming Project. That was an aerosolization spray program. So the main program manager of that was also the head of Harvard's nanotech departments. So David Keith was the head of Harvard's geoengineering and nanotech departments, friend of Epstein, a fellow transhumanist, and he just happened to be in charge of that program. The real threat is the shedding, because all of those things shed, and that's the thing. So, you really have to be able to help the people that you're going to care about to detox themselves of this. Because I guarantee there's at least one person listening to this show right now that has someone amazing waiting to meet you who made the worst mistake of their life by doing that to themselves. But remember, they were mind controlled, they were victimized, they were coerced, they were bullied. I mean, in some cases, your entire life was threatened. I lost my career over this in a very posh place in the United States because of these lies. So, you know, you can't really judge what people have gone through in the last 3 years when we've all been torn apart in the last 3 years.
For sure. For sure. Let me finish this real quick. Ready?
Almost 3 years ago, the Biden administration illegally spied on our text messages and then leaked the contents to their servants in the news media. They did this in order to stop a Putin interview that we were planning. Last month, we're pretty certain they did exactly the same thing once again. But this time, we came to Moscow anyway.
Yeah, look, I think there are some true points that are being made here. Of course, it's true that Zelensky has gotten a lot of softball interviews that the mainstream press should be critical of. Of course, it's true that people who are, you know, very much publicly reviled, like Osama bin Laden and Putin, have done mainstream news interviews, and that this doesn't have to be any different. It's also true that I think that Tucker Carlson is overstating his case somewhat by saying that no one else has ever tried to interview Putin. He's the one that's been given access that others apparently have not been given access. And that does raise some questions about why it is that he's being permitted this interview and if he's going to take this opportunity to do.
Do you even remotely hear her questioning anything about them spying on him? I don't. I didn't.
Okay, I will say.
Get back to your mic, bro, because I can't pull you out of there.
What I've seen her doing recently,
Dude, you're way. Come back to your mic.
Standing against the genocide.
Oh, God damn it! Come back to your mic, Rapunzel.
Oh, sorry. Better.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So also, like recently, in the duality of things, and I know the Hill plays controlled opposition. That's designed originally with like breaking points and whatnot. But she's been pulling for, you know, the Palestinian plight, and for ceasefires and for peace. Robbie's been kind of taking the right wing line, war at any cost type deal. But I mean, that's still just controlled opposition. You got to realize the Hill, the Rising, all that stuff. This all started with Crystal and Sagar, and they're very clearly deep state agents. Like, they're definitely groomed individuals. They both went to Georgetown. They're very, very groomed individuals. So, they're APAC all the way for sure at the heart of it.
You see what Yvonne dropped in here, and that's sad. This
yeah, exactly.
This is fucking sad. I've walked away for 27 years in nursing. This lady was a fucking. She was in the military she went into medical, right? Straight out of the military. 27 years in nursing because I refused to get the jab.
Yeah.
Lost it.
She was one of the few who kept her oath.
I mean,
she should be honored.
She is. She's just her man are good people, man.
I know a regional CNA trainer of nurses, especially for old folks home. She was an old folks home supervisor as well across the Midwest, and she had to quit. She was also trying to have another baby, but because of her proximity working with other people who'd made that mistake for their job, she had not been able to conceive all of a sudden. Suddenly, her entire reproductive cycle was compromised. I know another girl, just out of her desire to help people, she wanted to get a job as a nurse, so they made her take it. She went to an ectopic pregnancy, and the same hospital that made her take it tried to let her bleed out in the emergency room for like 4 hours while she was having a miscarriage. They made her wait for 4 hours while she was bleeding out with a miscarriage in the emergency room waiting room until she finally insisted to be seen. So they've been intentionally, they just took the, quiet kills off the table. Now they're just doing it openly, depopulate wherever possible, shave and skim, and they're going to rely on the misery that other people are suffering to keep them suppressed enough to not rise up. And the sudden high-pitched humming I can hear in my left ear lets me know I'm right on point.
Morgan Roundtree, sweetheart, that really breaks my heart what you wrote here. She's like, bro, my own mom did not want to hug me because I did not receive the jab. That right.
The irony of that is that, she's the one that has the thing that you should be scared of. That's where they weaponize love against people.
And Mr. James Roundtree says our director leveled some veiled threats, that we all might lose our jobs, and they're like, well, fuck it, fire us. I agree with you. My boss at the time, Zach, good friend of mine, he's like, I don't give a fuck if you get it or not. Get this, he's like, if you do get it, you ain't driving for at least 2 weeks. I said, what? I'm like, dude, I ain't gonna get this goddamn thing anyway, so I ain't worried about it. But he knew. My own boss was awake. You know what I'm saying? Miss Morgan says my mom passed away 4 months later. Damn, Morgan.
Even if it's a 0.5% chance that you'll, have an accident while you're conducting your job and something extremely bad will happen, especially if you're driving or, using heavy equipment, that's still 1 in 200 people, even at a 0.5% rate. And I think we're seeing something a lot higher than that. And we haven't seen how bad this is going to get. And that's the thing is, if we're not ready to stand together and help each other detox and really help us cleanse not only our environments and our bodies, then how are we going to win? If we do win, what are we going to have left? A bunch of, tortured corpses for bodies. I'm sorry to be this real about it, but we really have to, find a way to let our empathy heal the planet that's hurt itself, because these humans aren't going anywhere for a while, and if we let it go unchecked, we don't know how bad it's going to get. So we have to help each other heal. There's no other way. I don't know of any other way.
Mr. George Overton brings a really good topic into the discussion, and that is the nanotech that is involved in this, this shot. We've all discussed that here. Spraying chemtrails, nanotech. What is in street drugs? We don't really know. You know what I'm saying? My heart goes out to everybody that just dropped a bunch of shit in here. They've lost their mothers. They've lost their family and friends because of this. I'm seriously, I hear it a lot because of what I do. But I've never seen this live like this, where you guys are pouring your heart out, saying that you've lost your mothers. I am so sorry to hear that.
See, Matt, that group I was recommending,
yeah,
that DIEP.
Mm-hmm. What about it?
So that suddenly group that I was recommending, I've been seeing these stories every day. One that really destroyed my heart for the day was someone who lost 24 family members between 2022 and now. So they've literally, I come from a sad background when it comes to death after death after death, but that's something that's just beyond the pale to me. And having it all happen that fast, that's like being attacked from every angle. That's death in the form of giant ninja stars from every direction. Like, I can't even imagine. And so when I really started looking at these stories, I was like, we have to do something about this, and we have to get ahead of it. But thank you to everyone that's sharing your experiences, and I'm so sorry you're going through this. Boron cleanses, boron water, even boron soaks. If you're growing your own vegetables, boron in the soil, get rid of all the nanotech. And then in order to break down the Morgellons that's been growing in our environments, borax for laundry detergent works great. Kills it all, makes it break down. There are ways to defend yourself, but everybody should have a heavy metal detox, because when you do and you see what comes out as a result, you'll be glad you did.
Mr. Walsh, Mr. Wayne Walsh says that he appreciates our format on this broadcast, and that we the people are not ignorant, or at least the people that are awake know about it. Of course, man. We've been talking about this for quite some time, Wayne, and just recently It's almost as if they want us to talk about this now, because I remember the day whenever you could like really just say the word COVID, right? And you are instantly fucking blackballed. You're off the internet. No talking. People have received 3 days, 24 hours in Facebook jail just simply by saying the word. I mean, me and Anon has not even gotten into the biolabs, really the biolabs in Ukraine. And see, this goes with what I'm wanting to talk to you about. What really do you think that Putin can drop that's going to shake the shit out of the mainstream? I say two things. One is, like you and I were saying off air, he's already told the World Economic Forum to take their fucking money and shove it in their ass. So there's one. Number two, I think that he's going to go ahead and disclose what exactly is going on in Ukraine and how the United States is part of that. What do you think?
So I think that's going to be a lot to do with that. That's the only thing to me that would explain the panic, because ultimately they are afraid of transhumanism and its vile nature being revealed. Because once the supposed Christian right has transhumanism equated with necromancy, which is what it actually is, they won't be able to openly support it anymore. So at that point, they'll lose a lot of their public funding. And remember, in addition to body parts, this thing runs on funding. It can't run without our work. It's a Ponzi that literally runs on our blood, sweat, and tears. And so without our support, once people realize en masse that it's that bad, then they will run away from it. And to Tina, not borax on your plants, but boron is supposed to be in your soil. And then borax as a detergent and laundry detergent can soak the parasites and nanotech out of your vegetables and fruits and whatnot, in addition to lemon water. And then boron water in controlled, boron water in controlled doses can help with heavy metal detoxes and breaking down parasites and nanotech in the body. But then again, so can, hydrochloroquine and even the homemade stuff, which I'd say actually works a little better.
Let's talk about these deceased bodies. Okay? What the hell is going to happen to these dead bodies, bro? Because me and Larry Hawkins was talking about this off air.
So you figure there were 16,000 Ukrainians, Russian-speaking Ukrainians, killed between 2014 and 2016 in the Maidan coup. Unless there's one big-ass mass grave that hasn't been found yet, I'm pretty sure at least 10,000 of these bodies have not been accounted for. And so between 46 known biolabs, I believe, maybe more, the number keeps fluctuating, that we know of, and however ever many were hidden, how many of these bodies went to these places, and what was done there. When I see modern transhumanist inventions like synthetic birthing pods, that robots carry around or that are just in place, I see like mentally scenes from the movie Overlord where they're creating immortal undead soldiers. Like, it's basically the same concept. It's creating life from nothing, creating life from death. And it's really not something that can be tolerated anymore, because we see the toll it's taking. And it's taken too many of our young men and women to sacrifice just to feed the machine. And I'm just done. Like, I'm just done with it.
Look, reading a comment here. There's Mr. Overton says, "Do you all not know that these wars are all staged? They're fake. Rumors of wars. Every state in the United States has a Ukraine and Russia and a Red Sea. All of the countries are countries here in the U.S. I don't quite quite get that statement, but
I'm sorry, George Overton Window, but I more prefer the whole Pangea Don Guanelon theory that like we're just in a petri dish and there's a bunch of other humanoids and other petri dishes all around us, and we're separated by big ice walls, because that's actually what I've seen. But I say if we're gonna believe anything, the big walls in the Pacific Ocean kind of give away the plot. But that's just me.
what did you just say? Did you say you believe in a flat Earth?
No, I didn't say flat Earth. I think the surface of the Earth is a bunch of separated, ecosystems. It's a pervasive term in our science, fiction theory. It's the concept in the movie Dark City, which I think is probably one of the most accurate, depictions of what's probably really going on. In terms of science fiction. But no, I absolutely believe there's intelligent life within the Earth, because I've sensed higher level humanoids before. It's just kind of part of the metaphysical journey. In addition to dealing with the weird things, the archons, the shadow people. You're gonna interact with beings that most people don't really get a sense of. And they're there whether you like them or not. It's kind of annoying, really. But that's part of being, like AB negative, being one of the weird whatever bloods I am. I still don't understand this shit. So
Triton just dropped some really good shit. Agenda 2030 got moved to Agenda 2024, which means they want 2/3 of the population dead by the end of this year. That's their plan. Let me tell you, Triton, I don't disagree with you, but I will say this. Now, just hear me out, okay? I believe in my own self that they destroyed the Georgia Guidestones for a reason. Okay, I believe that there's so many people that was stupid enough to take the right? That by the time it rolls around, they will reach the 500 million that they want. Okay, that's just my own mind says they removed their cornerstone, the Georgia Guidestones, because by a certain amount of time they know that they're going to meet that quota. Just saying, they already know.
I have my own take on that. So I actually took that video and I slow-moed it, and I slowed it down. Oh, sorry.
You talking about whenever they blew up the Guidestones?
Yeah. So I took that video and I slowed it down, because I was like, yo, why wasn't that light blown out if that was lightning that actually hit it? And I'm very familiar with direct energy weapons. And so I slowed the video down and can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. I caught a bolt actually jumping from the light itself while the stone was still intact. And if you take this video and slow it down, I guarantee you can replicate the results. But the bolt in midair with the stone still intact right before it disintegrated. Because I was like, okay, this didn't make any sense. If a lightning bolt hit that, it should have, destroyed that light with it. Or at least shorted everything out. But there was no short at all. That light should have exploded if there was a lightning bolt that close to it and hitting that stone and fracturing it everywhere. I just thought it was really strange. I really like the observations that Triton Neptune is making. He's right on point. You can't really underestimate these people in terms of their goals and the way that they can conflate numbers. I mean, they've created a Ponzi scheme that we call Wall Street. And I hate that their intelligence is so diabolically brilliant, but it really is. They're fundamentally evil creatures that survive on human suffering, unfortunately, and they're just one tribe of humanoids. But unfortunately, they're the tribe that'll sell out every other tribe for the blood in their veins. And it's disgusting and it's sick, but the sooner we face this as a species, the better off we're going to be. Because I'm not saying we need to cull them all, but if we have these monsters in our midst, we really need to get it all under control because it's gone way, way too far.
See, what you said, they're hitting this tribe and a lot of other people, a lot of other little segregated units. They're starting to really commandeer, hit these people with direct energy weapons. I know Pandora's going through a lot of AI generated shit right now. Her and Neptune both. Now, what's fucked up is, again, these glorious machines, right? I'm an astral projector. I know the majority of these people know this. When it comes down to the level of intensity that we're seeing these things be against our people, it goes above and beyond just the 3D density. Just because you can't see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, does not mean that it's not real. Fucking tell Triton Neptune that his girl's like not really laying there in bed baking or frying. She's fucking baking. She's frying. Why? From what? Direct energy weapons. And if it wasn't that, and or isn't that, it is ultraviolet type fucking technology. This shit is very real. What we're talking about is very fucking real.
Has anybody noticed that sometimes the sun is hitting like a microwave?
One more time.
Has anybody noticed that sometimes the sun is hitting like a microwave? I know I sure have.
Yeah.
And that's just something that's easy to observe on your sun. I mean, if people aren't noticing, then what?
Li-Fi system. Wow.
So,
Ultraviolet weapons outside of the visible spectrum. That's absolutely right. What he just said is absolutely fucking hammer and nail connection. Absolutely.
And it's just the human visible spectrum. I mean, we only see in like 14 frames of light max. So all you got to do is exist outside of that.
Let me ask you a question. You believe in the astral plane. You believe in the etheric plane. All right, so check this out. I'm not going to say exclusively who, because I don't want them to have the upper hand on me, okay? But let's just say I was visiting somebody, right? For some reason, I cannot fucking pinpoint it. I will work on it, and whenever I do, I will obliterate some shit. On the etheric plane, I was visiting somebody, okay, that was in need of help. Now, it took me, again, I'm visiting another astral projector. Very much so. I've noticed surrounding them, okay, an almost fucking fog, almost like a fog smoke. It took me a minute to get to them. I mean, I knew I was going to, but there was like a very heavy, dense fog, okay? And I noticed as I'm going through this fog, I'm like looking around, checking shit out. And next thing you know, blam, I started coming at me was all kinds of fears from my early age. I'm talking from The Exorcist, Linda Blair, to I didn't see Freddy Krueger, but I'm just saying like different scenarios of things that this fog could produce for me to scare the shit out of me to not reach these people I needed to reach. Has AI literally made it to the point where they are now interacting with our non-physical material plane? Has that fucking began? Because I have no problem like you saying, yep, we're there. We're definitely fucking there. Seriously, talk to me.
So I still don't understand, AI evolution in terms of like that kind of concept. But
fuck yeah, right
there
there.
are people who think of like archonic energies as nothing but like wardens on this planet, and this planet is a prison for our energies. Because when our energies unite, or when we're at our thickest particle density, we're actually destructive to the universe around us. Now, I agree with Morgan Roundtree. I think the astral plane is where we're centered, where our particle density is at its most oneness, where we have power to see in all spectrums. That whole world Reddit called in certain books. But I don't really ask for truth anymore. I hurt too many people. I'm still terrified that if I leave my body for too long, too many shadow people will gather around it and overpower my natural defenses, especially if I'm outside of my body. So I just don't leave it.
I assure you, you would be a force to be reckoned with on that side of shit. And I'm telling
Well, no, I know I am. When I was just playing around, I accidentally killed one of my teachers. Like, I still live with that, and I'm not. And then another time, I didn't have my defenses right, and I let myself get co-opted. Like, so I think what happened, what you were talking about in your story, those smoke beings, those dust devils, those jinn, they're always represented by like smoke or shadow. But when they're incorporeal, they're just kind of like parasites, you know. But when they're fully grown, they're intimidating because they're like baby archons, you know, like outside of the larval state. And it's funny because like every time I see someone else's depiction of like one of these archonic beings, one of these parasites with the 3 eyes and like almost like a moth, I'm like, God, it looks almost like a shadow person, like the same kind of fucking drawing.
right.
But yeah. Okay, so that fog is smart dust. Originally, when I was in the mountains of Colorado, they were doing a lot of weather modification up there because when you're up that high, it's really easy to do. And they also were able, there's still an ongoing lawsuit with the Pentagon and the people where they were using one of the airplane companies out there for clandestine weather modification. Some destructive shit. Really, really destructive shit. I saw this stuff firsthand. Completely unbelievable. Like something out of the fucking Bible. Straight up rapture, pillars of fire going up to heaven made of cloud, creating one of the largest ice storms that's ever hit Denver.
What?
The hail was... Yeah, no. So it was April 30th, 2014. I watched them breed the storm. And then May 1st, I think it was like $2.5 billion in damage to the city of Denver. There were hailstones about the size of cars, but they had bred one of the most vicious storms I ever saw over a one-day period, and I've never seen anything quite like that. But yeah,
Tima says
it's wild because
they still do it.
And so the haze is a result of all of that because they breed nanotech into it. And when it snows in Colorado, I noticed that like the snow would glow prismatically, like different colors, like blues and reds and yellows and whites. And so we'd get fresh snow and we'd break it down, and there it was, nanotech swimming around in the fresh snow that had just been dropped from the sky. Yeah,
fucking
so yeah, they do
dude.
it all the time. Vail Resorts is a private company in America, and they have 27 different contracts for geoengineering to make sure that rich people have fresh powder. Just as an example.
Why can't we just eliminate these corporations? Let me ask you that. Why the fuck do we got to do? Why are we even talking about this?
Don't you know corporations are people now and people have rights?
Well, if I have a right, I want some shit fixed. I want some shit done. I want our girl over. Well, I want Pandora fixed. I want Neptune fixed. I want Larry to be able to come out of his house. I want Lee Grantham on a nice fucking pension. I mean, I want my list is literally fucking endless. I am sick of this shit.
How are you going to achieve that with a cult of freaking bloodsuckers running shit?
I don't know. I truly don't know. I myself, I don't have the fucking answer. And I do know, I want to say that the answer can absolutely be delivered without violence. We have got to be able to put the silver stake or the silver bullet into the heart of Dracula and somehow not even raise a fist. Now, how the fuck we're going to do this, okay, I don't know, but I'm telling you, the shit's got to stop.
The one thing, it's cliche as fuck in the love and light movement, but it's true. And you can see it's true because the one thing these guys are always doing is trying to block the sun. So the sunlight is something they're afraid of. They do not exist in their prime in the direct sunlight. And so what you do is you drag them kicking and screaming into the light of the truth. And you just keep exposing them for the truth that they are. As obnoxious as you have to be, as repetitive as you have to be, you just keep showing them for what they are, keep repeating it over and over again until people really, really get it. Because a necromancer is a necromancer. Anybody that tries to create life from death is playing with forces they can't possibly control that will go berserk and destroy everything around them. This is only a matter of time, and the incarnated world that we see is a result of about 12,000 years of these guys going unchecked. And now they're ramping up, they're accelerating, and we cannot afford to let them build any more momentum than they have. So just exposing the truth of what they are and what they do. And I think that's what's behind all this fear, is because if they expose these transhumanist biolabs in Ukraine and what the Russians found at the 24 or so that they've been through, I think it's over for the transhumanist party in the United States, because there's no way that they can afford to fund a group of, necromancers.
Damn. Mr. Neptune says they've pulled that rubber band back way too long, and it's going to clap back, and it's going to come back on them heavy. I don't disagree with you. I've said this before, Neptune and everybody else. We are dealing with the same motherfuckers that we have been dealing with for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. We literally are. That you cannot convince me otherwise. They know this system inside and out. Okay? They know how to get grandma to be scared shitless and sneak off tomorrow and go get a South State vaccination. They know how to scare the shit out of her. No matter what we've said, they know how to do it. I mean, I don't know. These guys. Everybody here knows what V2K is. I've talked to countless MK kids, MK Ultra kids. Sandy Bergen's one. She fucking still deals with it every day. I mean, I don't know my own self when this is going to come to an end, but I'm looking very forward to it coming to a screeching halt real soon. I'm just telling you.
Okay. Just to give you an idea, the reason that these guys are known as ghouls, okay, and we see actually their old tricks coming back up.
Yes.
Is because so recently there's been a lot of grave robbing and grave desecration going on. So the reason they were called ghouls is they would sneak into a town at night, and they would grave rob and they desecrate, and they would sexually violate and eat the corpses and steal all the gold and jewelry and wealth off the corpses as well. They'd do this for a few days to a few weeks until they had people whipped up nice and frenzied. And then they'd show up in holy robes that they'd bought using the stolen wealth and pretend to be exorcisers or demon slayers to banish the evil. And then they would be welcomed and allowed to assimilate into a society. This is the basic art of the Ponzi. So in order to immunize yourself from that kind of Ponzi scheme, from that kind of persuasion, you have to see them for what they are and understand their motivations. Now, a lot of these guys, they straight up do live off human blood. That's not a myth. Porphyria is very real, and it's a genetic trait. Okay, it exists within families. We wouldn't have blood drinking clinics if there weren't people who didn't need to drink blood, who have a lot of fucking money. And you can find it on the cover of Forbes now. So,
no hiding this shit, are they? They ain't hiding this at all. They ain't hiding this one bit. I have a question. Okay, you just mentioned blood clinics, right? You just mentioned blood clinics. Are there not records of what the clinics have done with the blood? Aeon, hello. Did I lose you?
Yeah, but that would be protected by medical privacy.
Oh, my bad.
Wouldn't it?
Yes, you're right.
I mean, think about
There
it.
goes
Keith
that.
Richards gets his blood changed every 3 months, right?
Fuck, there went that theory. You knew where I was going with this.
Well, no, I mean that you're right, and it should be public access, especially if these blood clinics are subsidized by taxpayer money, which they absolutely have to be. So the fact that, you know, at one point, and the one they did shut down that got notoriety, Youngbloods, they were doing direct transfusions between teenagers and like 60 and 70-year-olds.
Oh my god.
And it was like straight up like something out of the Dark Crystal, where they were absorbing the essence and getting younger and shit. It was disgusting. It is disgusting. But you know, people need to know where their taxpayer money is going, and they really need to ask why. Why are there blood drinking clinics in America? Why are we sending billions to bloodthirsty monsters while claiming democracy and silencing all dissent? Like, you know, at some point you have to see the monsters behind the curtain, or the curtain's going to fall on you, I guess. But, you know, we're at this breaking point now, and I just think it's going to be really obvious in the next couple weeks where people stand, because we're going into the full, you know, World War II scenario 100 years later right now with a pending TB epidemic. And it's all the elites could ask for. So who are you going to be in that scenario?
Well, hopefully you or I are not on the receiving end of their bullshit. Just saying.
I'll find that.
You know, you've been pretty much targeted throughout your life as well. And I'm not sure if you're ever, I don't know if you're ever going to come public or not. I'm talking like full blown public on the broadcast here and everything. But if you did, if you did, right, you've got a goiter on your neck. You've got what do you call it? A cyst, right? You've got a tumor cyst on your neck. That shit is going to become, from what I understand, more and more relevant and prominent as this technology gets more ramped up to do what it's built to do. Neptune dropped in the chat earlier that all of this stuff can be used as good.
Yes.
Every single bit of it. And he's right.
All was at one point. That's what gets me. Like, originally, orgone energy was used to heal cancer. Now microwaves are used to cause cancer on a society-wide basis. Used to rob us of our nutrients and take all the water out of our food, all the essence out of our food. Water is life. It really is. It's intelligent communication. It's the basic, you know, building block of everything in us. But yeah, it's insane how everything has gotten upside down at that point. And they're literally feeding us non-food all day, and now we're finding that these big company CEOs are, we are putting the mRNA in our food this whole time. It's like, oh Jesus. And then I know I'm seeing it firsthand. I'm being very careful when I go shopping for meat now, because there are some things that are labeled Angus that are definitely lab grown. Like, I can see this. Like, I know the difference between meat glue, a real meat cut, and something that, you know, got printed in a lab. And it's kind of crazy because the labeling is not even honest. Like, right. You can just see things going down.
Let me ask you something real quick before we get off here. I want to throw this out there. And that is this. There's almost 9 billion people on this planet. 9 billion people is a lot of fucking people. Do we really truly believe that out of 9 billion people, we feed those people, okay, with the amount of poultry plants we've got, foundries we've got, farms we've got? Do you really think that just them little farms are what feed 9 billion fucking people? I don't.
Absolutely.
I don't.
They could do it in India alone.
Dude, I think that there's people coming up in like McDonald's bags, Burger King bags, because I don't believe that our industry can sustain 9 billion fucking people.
Okay, so you have to look at humans as we are, all right, versus how we used to be. Now, to think that this is the only time where there have been billions of people on Earth, I think that's kind of foolhardy.
True.
Given what we've seen about giant, massive ancient cultures and giant, massive ancient cultures disappearing even overnight. I think for us to be too cocky about what our real world is when we only know of 5 levels of mass extinction events below our surface, that's pretty foolhardy. And that's just according to what science tells us, you know? But can I get some props out to your chat? Your chatters are very intelligent, and I love where all these ideas are coming from. So thank you all so much. It's really good to see people really on this page, because you guys really are going to be the difference, you know, just radiating and shining this knowledge out for everybody.
Did you hear that?
Because there was
you
a time
fuckers are smart. That's what he said. That's what he just said. You fuckers are smart. I love them, dude. These are my people.
No, it's good to really see the chat rolling. But you know, human beings, when our food is pure, when it's not poisoned, we need a lot less of it, okay? And we get more energy out of it. And your body can adapt when the food is pure, when the water is pure. And so ultimately, the idea is to purify the water, to get the junk out of it. Now, a lot of this nanotech that they're using, they originally found desiccated on top of Mount Ararat. And then they looked inside of Mount Ararat and found out it wasn't a fucking mountain, but there's a megalithic city inside of it, and all the people are missing. The only thing that was left was the nanotech.
That's right. What was that?
Mount Ararat. You know, the legendary
right.
where the Ark ended up.
Yep.
So they found that there was desiccated nanotech on the top of the mountain. And then they found a way inside of the mountain and found a freaking monolithic city in there within the last couple of years. And so they realized, holy shit, there's nobody here. Everybody's gone, but the nanotech is still here. So what does that tell you? What does that imply?
That tells you that we've been around for a long motherfucking time, and we've had high technology for a long motherfucking time.
But yeah, so if we, to your question, could we feed 9 billion people easily? I mean, we could actually fit most people into Alaska if everyone had like kind of a dorm room setup. But if our food was pure, if our water was pure, you'd get a lot more nutrient out of everything. It's just like our sunlight. They've dimmed our sunlight because if you dim the sunlight 5%, then that means you're going to kill 5% of the population who wouldn't otherwise die. That's how that works. It's direct correlation and causation. And those numbers, they don't lie.
Damn it, man. You are just full of nothing but love and light, aren't you?
I'm sorry. No, I was raised in the dark, and so I've adapted myself to try to be a lighthouse for the people in the dark, because we're all there. And if I can shine for them, then they can find the way home. And because they already have adapted to see in the dark themselves, they can help others find their way out too. That's the whole point. You know, you radiate and you affect the 10 souls closest to you, and you're helping me do that. So I really appreciate it.
I have a question. I'm just throw this out there. Triton says something about we were technically never meant to consume life, meaning we were never supposed to be carnivores, which is why fasting heals you. Eating literally lowers your vibrational frequency, especially if it's not organically grown and or pure. What do you say to that one?
Okay, so as an AB negative, I have to have blood-based iron because I have iron, copper, and gold in my blood. Now, I only represent 0.6% of the population, but we are real, okay? And for RH negatives especially, which is about 6 to 16% of the population, the number's kind of vague, because we have less iron and copper in our blood, which is where the red hair comes from, we suffer iron deficiency. So the blood-based iron gives us more. Now, it's really hard to grow things like oregano and parsley in different parts of the world, which are the best way of getting vegetable-based iron. There's actually more iron in the parsley on top of the steak you eat at the restaurant than there is in the entire steak. I don't know if anybody knew that. that's the whole thing is you have to think back to 50,000 years ago when societies were very different. And we know that there were bigger humanoids. We know there were bigger mammals, and we absolutely hunted each other. So the evolution of specific humanoid tribes to be meat eaters is actually pretty damn natural. I'm not saying you can't be vegan, but for those of us that if we don't get blood-based iron, we start looking at other humans like turkey legs,
Right.
you might want to just let us have our steaks.
Miss Carolyn Shepard, she's oh god. Miss Carolyn Shepard says, "Yeah, what about the med beds? We keep hearing about them. And she's right. We've all heard about the med beds. I mean, I know I have. We did an entire show on high technology at one point, and med beds definitely come up.
I don't know what med beds are.
I think that the technology exists. She's talking about med beds where technology technology that rejuvenates the body.
Oh yeah, no, those are orgone chambers. All you got to do is create an orgone energy chamber, and you can destabilize anything. Allegedly, the Temple of the Sun in Bosnia, one of the ancient pyramids, there's a rock there that runs over a water stream, and people will go there and pay big money to go there and sit on that, and they'll come out with like cured cancer and stuff. It's just the harmonic frequency of that. Right. There are also the underground Peruvian caves. Some of which women can't enter because of the harmonic frequency in there, and others which you go in there and they like calm you or charm you. It's all interesting in natural harmonics.
Poor Miss Lisa up in Canada. Miss Lisa Thomas says she is iron deficient. She needs her meat. Yep. And it's true. Some of us are. I mean, I know before I would ever take an iron supplement, I would definitely eat some liver or something. I'm just saying.
Well, I think that was one of the funny things about Woody Woodpecker. Like, I always loved it. Like, he'd get stuck on like a boat or an island with somebody, and he'd start looking at him like a turkey leg and stuff. So if I go without a steak for long enough, I start looking at people like, yeah, I can bite your ear off.
Right. Miss Beth Ann, she says, I have got the most wanted blood on the planet. She's a beta negative. Oh man, the beta negative, the B negative bloodline. Just no.
That's the youth antigen.
What's that?
The B negative, it's the youth antigen. I kind of figured this out. My sister, she's promiscuous, especially with Rh positives, and so she's no longer an AB negative. She's an A negative now. They can't pick up her B antigen anymore, so she actually lost it. And now she's started aging at an accelerated rate. So my younger sister now looks older than me.
No.
But it's interesting. Yeah. Because even though we're from the same bloodline, now we have different gene codes. So it's just one of those things where we can give away our genetic metaphysical abilities. We can actually inspire them in other people. It happened with my cousin and her husband. He started being able to see shadow people in the day around his house and stuff. It's just one of those innate abilities within my family. But yeah, it's funny because it's something that we learn by living.
I'm trying to write down here a little graph here. All right, that'll kick it. They'll understand that. A, the alpha blood type, B, beta blood type, O, or the omega godhead blood. You know what? I wrote an article about Rh negative blood and the lineage of like the unknown origin, right? Of where it just originated. That little article is a really unique article, and I should drop it in the chat. I probably should. I should drop it in the chat. Whenever we talk about the lineages of blood and the origin thereof, right? I've been told via another channel that off planet, there are more than just what we're talking about here. O positive, B, A, RH negative, the RH recessive minus blah blah blah. We've got a blood. We've got to remember we're in the Milky Way galaxy. Okay, our little star system is just teeny tiny, really small. So whenever you look above and beyond the cosmos, we are just a little dot, just a dot. Just saying, just a speck. I'm trying to. Did we cover everything that you wanted to cover? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that's the living system, and if we turn into a cancer inside that living system, it won't be good for that overall living system. So maybe we shouldn't be parasitic if we can avoid it, because we definitely, we may be microbial in our nature, or we may be, parasitic in our present form, but we are very capable of, I think, amazing things if we really get back to our genetic purity. But it's going to take a long time.
I am trying to find this article I wrote. I'll drop it in there. If anybody's really interested in the lineage of the RH negative blood, where in the hell is
we were just
article?
told we were special, that we were rare. We didn't know how rare we were. We just knew that spooky things happened around us, and spooky things like to happen to us. So we surrounded ourselves with spooky things, and we grew up in a violent environment. So becoming violent and learning to be physically powerful was necessary, and so becoming metaphysically powerful was implied as well.
I would love to know where in the hell did my article go? Dude, my article is not even there. Not even there. You got to be shitting
It's cool.
It just vanished.
I've learned that's more important. You'll find it. It's somewhere in there. You'll find it. But the thing, while you look, I think it's really important that I'm sure of about some of the Rh negative antigen. Maybe this is the holy grail they're looking for too, is that it's infectious. It can actually spread over a very short period of time and infect other people with the ability to awaken themselves multidimensionally, or to manifest metaphysical traits that they didn't have before. And of course, this manifests in a number of different ways for each individual. So I think this is part of what they're looking for, because a genome like that, if they could bond it, it's a chimeric gene. It can bond to anything, and it changes whatever gene structure it bonds to.
Oh, the Rh negative? Is that what you're saying? Absolutely.
Well, no, I mean the infectious, the people that literally change their environments around them just by existing.
Oh,
if you know what I mean.
I do. Mr. Ian's going to bed. No problem. All right, Mr. Anon. I know you got to go. You got to go to work tomorrow.
Yeah, I got to go to work tomorrow.
So, say something positive to all of these kick-ass brains at the other end of your microphone.
All right. Well, I really love the chat. You guys were awesome. Thanks for inspiring. But just remember, keep developing your abilities. Don't be afraid of it. Don't respond with fear to anything. And just keep working on that particle density. We got a lot of dimensions to go through. We got a lot of worlds to see before all this shit's done. But the one thing you can do is just keep standing up for the truth and shedding the light of the truth, because nobody deserves what's being done to everybody I've ever met in my life. None of us deserve this, and we should really try to change it within this one lifetime. So, good luck.
Pretty damn good statement there, buddy. All right, Mr. Anon, I appreciate you for being with me on Wednesday here. Looking forward to you getting a louder and prouder microphone, man, for sure. And okay, buddy. take it easy, and we'll catch you here next week. Okay? Peace to you, my friend. Alright, dude. That was it. Let me see. Alright. Ladies and gentlemen, go over here. Go over here. It's where I say goodnight to you. Say thank you guys so much for being with me. And Mr. Anon, Mr. NASAnon. Always a good conversation. I am surprised that Facebook didn't do the little spinny thing, right? Like they always do. Gotta say shout out to everybody here. Again, we appreciate you. I thank you. If you can smash that subscribe button at the top of this page, help us cover the broadcast expenses, please. I'm asking you, please. Shout out to everybody on the other side of things. Please pray for Neptune, Triton, Pandora, and all of you guys that need, if you need love, you need light, ask. Don't be afraid to ask. You are part of my unit. You're part of my tribe, and you guys are fucking amazing. Okay? You guys are absolutely amazing. One thing that they don't like is the light. You heard Neptune. They can't stand the sun. They can't stand that light. However, just don't be fighting alone. Okay? You're not alone. Don't be fighting alone. Don't do it. So you go into that war zone with somebody that's got your back. I don't want nobody to stand in front of me. I don't really want anybody to stand behind me. You stand right beside me. Okay? And whenever they fall, you pick them up. Let them sit behind you for a little bit to rest, relax, and turn right around, grab them, pick them up, and make their asses stand back up at that front line. I know a shit ton of people, and so do you, that are on that front line, going through that direct hit, right? That's what we're doing. We're taking direct hits. This system knows it's done. This system absolutely fucking knows it's done. And you guys, you guys are the reason. You guys, again, the motto of this show is we question everything, even the fabric of reality. And they don't like independent thinking caps. They don't. Okay? I gotta say what Mr. Larry Hawkins says all the time. If you know about the... I'm talking directly to you, Mr. ABC. If you know about the ongoing problem and you do nothing about the fucking problem, then that makes you part of the problem. Okay? Shout out to you too, all of you. Every single one of you ABCs. You've got your shit together. I know you can feel it crumbling from the inside out, because it is. This system ain't going to withstand the lies, the pressure. It can't. It just can't. It was built on the foundation of a lie. It was built on the foundation of fear. Okay, so let's rejuvenate and heal this planet. We've got it in us, every single one of us. Just be there for one another. That being said, brainiacs, take care of yourself, take care of one another. I'll catch you here on Friday. Once again, you guys, I appreciate you. Watch everybody's back. Watch everybody's back. And not with a knife in it. Pull it out. Pull it out. We ain't gotta fight. That's what they want. We're supposed to give them what they don't want. Okay? You are a system assassin. Fucking be a system assassin. You assholes. Work on it. Let's do this. We got it. One day at a time. One day at a time. Let's catch you guys here on Friday night, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 9 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock West Coast. I love your ass time. Crying out on the way out of here. Later, everybody. Peace out and good night to you. No doubt about it. Rock it out. Yeah. Let's do this. One of the fastest growing talk shows on the internet. Radio show. Welcome aboard, the Matrix Minds. One of the most controversial conspiratorial shows on the web, the Matrix Minds. And that's right. Buckle up, everybody. Let's go. Paranormal, huh? Conspiracy, huh? Ufology, hidden Egyptology, and anything and everything we can get our hands on. Let's go. Welcome aboard. The Matrix Minds. All right, no doubt about it. Peace out, says Miss Barbara Borchin. Oh, sure. Yeah. Tina Damon's right. You can message any one of us old folks up in here and chat about anything. About 20 times, says Mr. Chuck. Ha ha. All right, Mr. Lee, take care of yourself. Miss Beth Ann, Susan Litz. Love you, girls.
Day in Wonderland.
Miss Beth Ann, all of y'all. Christopher Peebles, Airbrush Fish, Mary Hawkins. Y'all kick ass up in here. Not everybody. Matrix Minds audio backtracks by Richard Roller from Victoria, Australia. All of your audio needs, audio creation, audio editing for the podcast, for movies, outright music creation, Touch Base Productions. Contact Richard Roller at richardroller007@gmail.com.
Hey everybody, Austin here with Colorado Custom Game Calls. Are you looking for a game call for your upcoming season? Are you looking for something unique? Are you looking for a gift for the hunter in your life? Well, look no further. We got you covered. At Colorado Custom Game Calls, you get to put your own twist on these calls. Whether it's waterfowl hunting, big game hunting, predator, or turkey, we got you covered. So be sure to hit us up on our Facebook and Instagram or on the web at coloradocustomgamecalls.com.
What is up, all my beautiful and gorgeous souls? I am Michelle Espinosa, otherwise known as the Shaman, through the Matrix Mind Media. So tell me, how many times have you wished that you had that special power of prediction? You know, to know what was going to happen before it actually happened and took place. To have some power and control over that situation before things came flying at you out of left field. The thing is, you actually can have that power. You can be aware of what's coming. Tune in to Astrology TV with me for Breaking the Cage. Every Sunday evening at 10 p.m. Eastern on the Matrix Mind Media. And I will go through the astrology and help put you on the right course and get you back in control of your own life. Love you guys.
This CBD fluid is a whole flower fluid extracted from the cannabis flower. We don't use any heat, butane, or chemicals when we extract, so we get all of the components of the plant. All the CBD, CBG, CBA, all the terpenes, all the flavonoids. This allows our body to absorb at 60 to 90% rather than the average of 6 to 10% absorption you would get with a CBD oil. Because our bodies are made up of mostly water and this is a fluid, it's highly absorbable so that you're getting 500% more nutraceuticals per dose. We also have this available in our CBD spray as well as a muscle rub with all kinds of botanicals. You're going to absolutely love it.
Check it out, Brainiacs. MatrixMinds.live/CBD. The CBD I use. Feel free again. Feel alive again.